Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in a half shell, turtle power. Hey everybody, it's Super Nintendo and his less than faithful guest.
Fear the Moons!
And as you can probably tell from the thumbnail and the title of the video, we're talking about turtles. But not just any turtles. What turtles are we talking about here?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Heroes in a half shell.
Turtle power.
Yeah, we're talking about the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series.
You're making me go and watch it once after this.
Yep. We're talking about specifically season 1 and what we thought of it. And first let's start off with any negatives because there's not really that many.
This show is really good. I have had no problem with it. It is great.
I could see people thinking that the animation is kind of stiff when they're not doing their action-y stuff. And personally, the only negative for me is when binge watching the show, Michelangelo can get kind of annoying. That is the only that is the only negative for me. So let's talk about the good.
Yeah.
So first off, let's talk about characters.
Okay.
Let's start off with the leader.
You want to start on the leader?
Let's start off with Leonardo. He's the leader in blue.
No. Let's start with the leader last, because since he's the leader.
All right, then.
We'll start with Mikey.
Yeah, let's go with the age of the turtles from youngest to oldest. So let's start with Michelangelo. Michelangelo in this show, in season 1, it's not his best, but there is some real depth to this character.
Yeah.
He's the one who names all the bad guys, and I love his little explanations for him. It's like, Snakeweed is totally out of control. Snakeweed? Yeah, well, his name was Snake, and now he's a weed, so I thought we get it. Let's call him Metalhead. So what else? Let's call him Metalhead because he's got a head and it's made of metal. We get it. I love his Kusurigama, the nunchucks he has. How they seem to operate under Ghost Rider logic, where they're able to extend their chains so fucking far, and they have like a little fucking blade that comes out of the side of them.
Yep.
And I love that about him. He's also he's the heart and soul of the team, pretty much.
Yep.
He's the one who makes the funniest moments, I think. And on top of that, you don't see much of it in season 1, but he's smarter than he lets on.
Yeah.
He's not a straight idiot. There is logic to the madness. All right.
He's not like freaking Goku.
Yeah, in Dragon Ball Super. We actually just recorded a Dragon Ball Super video, which probably will be up before this. All right. Next, let's move on to Donatello, the fellow who has a way with machines. Fuck, I love this version of Donatello.
Me too.
Unlike previous incarnations and even future incarnations, counting the Michael Bay turtles, previous incarnations of him, he knew what the hell was going on. He was smart, but he always seemed to have everything figured out. This Donatello, he expects everything to work like a machine, where he can easily figure it out and anticipate what's going to happen. And then it's constantly figured out, oh yeah, people aren't machines. They have their own fucking logic to them. And Donatello in this show has a crush on April, which some people might find kind of creepy. personally, I think it's not it's not like Michelangelo in the Michael Bay Turtles, where it's like, we're still teenagers, but we can still have adult conversations. Dude, I totally talked to a girl. Oh, dude, I can feel my shell tightening. No, not any of that. It's an actual believable teenager kind of puppy love. And somewhere in the back of his head, he knows it won't work out. But it's like Dipper and another character in Gravity Falls. I'm not gonna ruin who it is in case you haven't seen it. It's like that, pretty much. And Donatello in this show is also voiced by Raphael from the 80s show. Also, this version of Donatello, you can jump in anytime you want, but this version of Donatello also, although he is smart, they make a point to point out that as in a fight, the thing that it makes him dangerous is not his martial arts skills. Because to be quite frank, he kind of sucks at it. But the thing that makes him dangerous is...
And the one thing... I'll jump in now.
Alright.
One thing I like about Donnie, when he makes a metal bot.
Metalhead.
Well, Metalhead, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool, like, oh, he can do all this ninja stuff, and then Leo, and then we're getting jealous.
Yeah.
And then when his bot messed up and got controlled by the Krang, they were like, Donnie, you dummy.
I love in that same episode, I love when he is told to hang back with April, and he's like, she's so beautiful, and on this screen she can't tell I'm staring. You know that thing's not muted, right?
That was funny.
This show balances humor and seriousness much more well than the 2003 series, I feel.
I like the 2003 series.
Yeah, the 2003 series I feel it's too serious. Which is that show is mostly in line with like the comics and stuff, but this isn't a comparison video.
Yeah.
We might do one sometime in the future where we compare season 1 of the 2012 to 2003.
Yeah, you need to finish the 2003 series.
Yeah. For those wondering, I have seen a lot of 2000...
At least season 1, so we compare it to this one and the...
For those wondering, I have seen a lot of 2003. I just haven't seen it in order.
Yeah. Because, TV.
Now let's move on to the one with the most attitude on the team, Raphael.
Yep.
This version of Raphael, I really, really like. Oh wait,
yeah,
no,
I like
no,
Raph because especially what?
Wait, no, weren't we going in order of their ages, like from youngest to oldest? Because Raphael's the oldest.
Yeah.
So let's move on
He's
to
older than Leo.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's move on to Leonardo, then Raphael. Leonardo. Right. I actually don't know who's older between Leonardo and Donatello, but I'm just gonna assume Leonardo was older. Leonardo.
I didn't know Raph was the oldest.
Yeah, he is actually the oldest. Leonardo, I fucking love this version of Leonardo. He has far more personality than any previous incarnation.
Yep.
And this version of Leonardo, he's basically like us. He's obsessed with this one cartoon, which is like a parody of Star Trek. And it's like he quotes the show and tries to be like his favorite character in that show. And this is constantly, but this, unlike every previous incarnation,
this happens usually at the beginning of an episode in season 1.
Yeah, every previous incarnation, of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Leo is already in charge by the beginning of the show, and they already know how to fight as a team. And Leo already knows like what it's like to be a leader by that point. This Leonardo, when the series first begins, they do not know how to fight as a team.
Yep.
Leonardo doesn't know how to lead for shit in the beginning. He's constantly second guessing himself, which doesn't help when Raph or one of the other turtles chimes in. And this Leonardo, because of his insecurity with being a leader, he's constantly wondering, am I doing a good job as a leader? So he will take advice from his brothers, which ends up being the wrong fucking decision when it leads him into trouble. And this Leonardo will always try, because of his cartoon obsession, he will try to act like his favorite character, like I said before. I keep burping. And so he'll say things like, "Halt, villain," and like, "Who are you? Who are we? We're the Turtles of Justice." It's just fucking hilarious. All right.
Especially, I like how he says that.
Yeah. And on top of that, in addition to this, he has much more humanity to him than previous incarnations, where him and Raph in previous incarnations, whenever they would butt heads, it came right the fuck out of nowhere, where they would fight for really no fucking reason. This one, you can tell they're fighting because they're brothers. First off, you know, they're rivals to each other. They make a point to hammer that in the beginning, that they are brothers and they're rivals. And rivals will fight with each other. In the previous incarnations, Leonardo's already the fucking leader. So Raphael really has no real reason to fight with Leonardo other than he's the angry guy. And I think that's a perfect segue into talking about the one with the most attitude on the team, Raphael. Holy mother of mutagen. I love this version of Raphael.
Yeah, me too.
This version of Raphael...
Especially, I like him talking to his turtle Spike.
Yeah. Which Spike becomes a much more interesting character as the show comes on. We won't spoil it here, but let's just say he's like the snail in Adventure Time. He's everywhere in the season one. Like even when they're not addressing him, he's there, which I kind of like. Raphael in this show, you can tell that the angry tough guy thing is mostly an act. He's acting like a tough guy for the most of it. He's still an angry. He has anger problems, but you can tell like, oh, I'm the tough guy of the group. You can tell that he's mostly just acting that out. Like he's just putting it on as an act. Because at times he is actually more emotionally open than Michelangelo, which I find very interesting. And the other thing too is he acts like an actual brother. All of them, they all act like actual brothers, which I like. Every previous incarnation, they didn't really feel like brothers to me.
Well, they actually act like brothers in 2003 if you watch it like I have.
I've like I said, I've seen a lot of the show. I just haven't seen it in order. But they don't really feel like brothers to me. They feel more like friends. Is the thing. They feel more like friends who come together and form a team. in that show. But in here, they really feel like they were raised together. They're brothers. Raphael especially. He constantly picks on Michelangelo like a brother would. He picks on his other brothers.
Raphael picks on Michelangelo a lot in 2003.
Yeah, this one picks on the other three turtles like an older angry brother would. And on top of that, in this show, it seems like one of the reasons he picks fights with Leonardo so much, in addition to the rival thing, is because he's the older brother. He wasn't picked to be the boss. Which I find very interesting because, yeah, when you're the older one and somebody younger, your younger sibling is picked to be, okay, you're in charge, you do want to fucking pick fights with them. And
with
that,
Leo?
Yeah. And Raphael also, like his pet turtle, he has a soft, sentimental side. And you see this come out so many times in the show. Like in season 1, Michelangelo tries to get a friend because he wants a human friend.
Yeah, it was like Facebook kind of thing.
Yeah, he gets Chris Bradford, which we will probably talk about when we get to villains. And after the episode, he's like, "Look, Mikey, if you tell any of the others about this, I'll beat the shit out of you. But you're an awesome guy, and this guy was evil, but you deserve friends way better than him." And I really like that about this version of Raph. He has moments like that throughout the whole series with all of the brothers.
Yep.
And I really like that. And one other thing I like before we move on from the Turtles and talk about Splinter is you can recognize these turtles without their masks. In previous shows, they all have the same fucking design. Despite, like, in the 2003 show, like, they have different eye colors, like, the only real difference. In this show, they have different shades of green. They have different facial features.
Actually, the 2003 has different colors. Donnie's a darker green. Mikey's kind of a darker green. Leo's more of a bright green, and Raph's like a dark green.
Okay, color-wise, that's not the only thing I was talking about. Like, as far as their actual physical design, they're the exact same thing besides color. In this show, they have different scuff marks. Michelangelo has fucking like turtle not pimples, but freckles. He has freckles underneath, like on his cheeks and stuff.
And Raph has that little scuff on his shell.
Yeah, Raphael has like a bunch of cracks in his shell. They have different scuff marks and all this stuff. So they all, and Donatello has like a gap in his teeth.
And his jaw's different.
Yeah, they all are recognizable if you take away their weapons and their masks, which I really like. In addition, they all have different eye color too, and different shades of green. Leonardo and Mikey both have blue eyes. That's the only real. They both have the same shade of blue for their eyes, but they have different colors for their skin. All right.
And you can tell. Plus, Mikey's face is like, I guess like a.
You can tell he's younger. Yeah, you can tell he's younger.
Yeah. Plus how he smiles, and you can see the freckles.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the one who taught him every single skill they need. Splinter.
Master Splinter.
Yep. I love this Splinter. He in this show, he is very clearly, just as much as he is a ninja master and sensei to the turtles, he's a father.
Yep.
And he talks to them like a father, which I really like. He grounds them at multiple points in the show. He, in the first episode, when they first go up to the surface, he gives them the whole thing of like, make sure to use the bathroom before you leave. Don't look both ways before crossing the street. Don't talk to strangers, and everybody is a stranger.
Yep.
I love that. And also, he doesn't fight much, but when he does, it is the greatest kick-ass thing you will ever see. And on top of that, when he fights too, it's not just ninjutsu. He uses his rat physique to do shit. He'll sometimes run like a rat. He has many points where he will do like goofy shit, like eating a cheese-sickle, which I guess that's kind of a spoiler for later on, but it's just a little joke thing. I think that's okay. And there's a joke for how they get a hold of him when they're away from the lair and they need his help, which I dare not fucking spoil here because it is one of the greatest things ever. So good. Also, his history, you don't get much of it in season 1, but you get just enough to be super intrigued by his backstory and how the turtles came to be.
Alright, so we ready for the villains now?
Yeah, let's talk about April real quick first.
Alright.
I really like this version of April. She is not just the damsel in distress that she was in her 80s incarnation. And she doesn't seem like the stereotypical girl power character that, from what I've seen, she is in the 2003 series. But in this show, she's aged down to be around the same age as the turtles. And she also is a fiery redhead who she like I said, Donatello has a crush on her, and you can tell that she knows about it, but doesn't tell him, look Donnie, I'm a girl, you're a turtle, it's just not happening. She doesn't want to break his feelings about it, and that shows caring and compassion. And early on in the show, she gets at least I think it's early on, Master Splinter offers to teach her ninjutsu. And she doesn't just train for one episode and bam, she's on the same level as the turtles. She slowly gets better as the show progresses. And there's so much, I dare not spoil it here, but her backstory throughout the whole show. The turtles may be the main characters, but she is the centerpiece throughout the whole show.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about. Oh wait, we should. What are your thoughts on April?
Well, yeah, I kind of like this April because she acts like a teenager.
That too. Yeah.
Especially, I like how she, has compassion for Donnie. She don't want to hurt his feelings. Pretty much like that. And she has a good backstory.
Yeah. Also, her design is kind of. I like her design. She's portrayed as this pretty girl, but also she's not like flaunting it, I guess is the way to put it. She is very clearly
not like Megan Fox.
yes, not like Megan Fox. Good one. All right. let's talk about the villains and what villain better to talk about than Hamato Yoshi, the Shredder. Oh no, not Hamato Yoshi. Oroku Saki, the Shredder.
Yeah, Yoshi's Splinter.
Yeah, I don't know why I got their names confused.
Wait, let's talk about the Shredder last, since he's like the big.
All right, let's talk about the ones who shall be talked about next. Is the one that shall be talked about, the Krang.
Are we gonna talk about Radford?
We'll talk about him when we talk about before we talk about Shredder. But I feel since the Krang are the first villains we're introduced to, we should talk about them first.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Krang.
The Krang.
I love this version of Krang. Only real negative with these things is they all look the exact goddamn same. They all have the same fucking personality too. Aside from two of them that don't even appear. No, wait, no, one of them does appear in season 1. Aside from one of them, which I will not talk about here. They all have the same fucking design and they all have the same fucking personality. So I guess that's another negative. But you don't get tired of seeing them, which I think is very important. They all have this very alien way of talking.
I will let you know about the 2003 Turtles. Basically, when the season starts, it's always about the purple dragons.
Yeah, Yeah, the Krang don't even make an appearance in that show, do they?
Yeah, they appear in
They have the Utrom,
like
but
later,
they don't have the Krang.
They have later in the season 1.
I remember them having the Utrom, but I don't think they ever actually had the Krang until that 2000. Until they did that crossover with the 80s Turtles.
No, they did it in season 1. It was just later. Alright, get what you were saying?
They all have this very alien way of talking. Krang. Tell Krang about the ones who are known as the Turtles who are coming here to this place known as this place. You know, something like that. I can't get the exact dialect down. But it's super it's super weird and kind of brain taxing to try to figure out what the hell they're talking about in the beginning.
Yep.
And it kind of feels like a kind of like an old 90s move, really, because and it leads to one of my favorite fucking lines in the first couple episodes, where it's like Mikey's the only one who sees the Krang initially, and he's like, it's like, dude, there's something wrong with this guy. He had a brain. We all have brains, Mikey. Not everyone. Why won't you all listen to me? Did you just slap me? I don't know why that's one of my favorite dialogue exchanges. And,
yeah, that was funny. I know what you're talking about. It was when he saw it and then they didn't see it.
See, it's a brain thing. I told you, but did you listen to me? No. I like how they're actually a legitimate threat in the beginning, but as the series goes on, they quickly become that minor inconvenience type villain.
Yeah.
And okay, let's talk about because I don't feel like we should talk about the mutants that they create, because most of them don't even have that much of a personality, like Snakeweed. So now let's talk about the henchmen of Shredder.
What, the Foot Ninjas?
No, not the Foot, but more so, Chris Bradford, Zever, and Karai. Um,
Is Karai in season 1?
yeah, she's in season 1.
Oh,
Remember,
right.
because of the twist at the end of season 1?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that, though. Just know
We're
that
not
there
going to talk
is
about Karai.
We are going to talk about Karai, just not the twist involving her. At least not until season 2.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Just know that there is a twist about her. All right, so Chris Bradford.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, obviously she strips naked in this show.
No.
And
No.
and it makes the turtles jump.
No.
And it makes the turtles jump out of their shells.
All right, say what you think.
Okay, Chris Bradford. God damn it. Chris Bradford. I love his fucking design. It reminds me a lot of what's his name? God damn it. Now I'm drawing a blank on his name. Not Bruce Lee, but that other guy.
Jackie Chan?
No, not him. That one action hero dude who is always what the hell is his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name for some fucking reason. I know what it is. Screwtack did a death battle involving them. Stop.
Are you searching it?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Chuck Norris. Why the fuck was I forgetting his name? Chuck Norris.
He reminds me of him. Yeah, he really does.
Yeah, I don't know why I was blanking out his name for a second, but Chuck Norris. He seems like an evil Chuck Norris, which is awesome when later in the show there is an evil character of somebody else. He's basically evil Chuck Norris, and apparently he was trained by the Shredder at a very young age or something like that. So it's fucking awesome. And he basically has like this little Shredder Jr. outfit that he wears. That's kind of fucking awesome. He also has a rivalry with Zever, another one of Shredder's henchmen.
Shredder's henchmen. Yeah.
Yeah, and
you want to talk about the foot too?
No, I don't feel like there's a need to, since we don't know any of them aside from Karai.
But they look cool.
They look cool, yeah, but I don't see any real need to. We can talk about their designs, I guess. But first let's finish talking about Bradford. I love when he gets mutated and turns into Dog Pound.
Does he turn to that in the first season?
Yeah, he turns into that in the first season.
Wow.
He doesn't. He turns into something else later on. But
again?
Yeah. But in season 1 he becomes Dog Pound.
Yeah.
And I love him as Dog Pound. And not in this season, but in another season, it leads to some really funny jokes. He's really fucking powerful early on too as Dog Pound. Anyway, let's talk about Zever. Not much to say about this guy. He's like a kicking guy, and he has like a butterfly knife.
We can't say nothing about his backstory because that's in season 2.
I barely even remember his backstory, to be honest.
It was when. Well, I can't. I'll tell you after that we record.
I know vaguely what it is. But
it was one of the episodes in season 2. It had Doctor. It had
Oh yeah, it was that.
Yeah, don't say nothing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can talk about what the hell?
Baxter Stockman.
Yeah, I know, but I was trying to do a joke whereas like I say his name wrong because that's a long running joke with him. Um, yeah. Let's.
Dr. Baxter Stockman.
No, it was like Baxter Stockboy or something like that. It's Baxter Stockman. I love Baxter Stockman in this show. He's not depicted as like a threatening villain.
So we're done with Zephyr?
Yeah, there's not much to talk about him in season 1 anyway. All we know is that he's just an asshole who gets turned into fish face. He gets turned into a fish.
Yep.
And we have Baxter Stockman or Baxter Stockboy. And I love how he's not depicted as a threatening villain. He's more so a joke villain. But they add a lot to him. First off, he is as smart as he is, he's also stupid. As smart as he is, he's also stupid, which adds a lot to him. He's kind of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version of Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Baxter Stockman being voiced by Dr. Doofenshmirtz as well. That would have been so perfect. Why did they do that? Curse you, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! Back to Stockman Evil Incorporated.
All right, who next?
I love how what do you think of Baxter Stockman?
Well, I did like one part when the turtles throw the turtles at first get thrown in the no first
they throw him in the dumpster first.
Throw him in the dumpster and then he goes like then he throws them in the dumpster and what does he say after that?
Before when they throw him in the dumpster, it's like, you aren't the first to throw me in a dumpster, but I swear you will not be the last. Or you will be the last, I think is what he said, yeah. And then that pays off later in the episode when he becomes the Stockman Pod, where and he throws them in a dumpster.
Because of Donnie's pod.
Yeah, because of the T-Pod. Basically, Donnie created the iPod, but then they
basically a turtle pod.
Yeah, and then later in the episode, at the end, when they finally defeat the Stockman Pod, they're like, let's call this one a tie. And he's like, you want to call it the tie raff? He pops his turtle knuckles, and he's like, not yet. Throws them in the dumpster, and is like, now it's a tie. It's so good. And he comes back all the time, and it cracks me up every time. All right, now let's finally talk. Oh wait, no, we gotta talk about Karai. Karai.
Wait, let's talk about the Foot Ninjas.
Yeah, there's not much to say. They look cool, but they're weak as hell.
Yeah.
Now on to Karai. Karai, I love this version of Karai. She's also aged down like April and the Turtles. Actually, no, the Turtles themselves aren't even aged down. The turtle Karai is aged down, or at the very least visually aged down, because she's not in most incarnations she's a grown ass woman, but here she's a teenage girl, like April, and she is a complete badass. And she has a really cute punk design, which I like. And also, one other thing I like, I know that kid shows don't do this, but I love when you can have a female character and not just make it about how they look. I'm so fucking tired of seeing that in shows where it's like, oh, we have a female character in there, we gotta point out that she's hot and whatever, and I'm just so fucking tired of seeing that. Which, this show treats its women with respect, which is awesome.
Yep.
You know, April gets kidnapped and has to be saved all the damn time, but most of the time, it's because she goes off to do shit that the turtles aren't allowed to do. So with her being kidnapped all the time, it's because
talking about the 80s?
No, in the 2012. When she gets kidnapped all the time in the 2012, it's because she does stuff that the others are not allowed to do, and she gets in over her head, pretty much. Where in the 80s, she's just kidnapped all the damn time because she's the girl. There's a time in season 1 where April fights Karai. And to our surprise, April wins.
Yep.
And she does it in, like, the most unlikely of ways, too, which I like. April gets the shit kicked out of her, which... Alright, one more negative that I have against this show is when the characters are beat up, very rarely does it actually look like they're beat up.
Yeah.
I know it's because it's a kid show and you can't have them, like, bleeding all the damn time. Like, the turtles themselves, they just add more scuff marks and add, like, more, not blood, but they add, like, black lines where you can tell that's where they're supposed to be bleeding. But for when April gets beat up, she just acts like, oh, like she's holding her arm or like she's missing a tooth or something. They never do anything with that. That's one more negative I have against that show, which isn't too many negatives about it. There's small nitpicks, really. All right, now let's talk about...
Because not all shows are perfect.
Yeah, there is no such thing as a perfect show. There's no such thing as a perfect anything. Perfection itself does not exist.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about the Shredder. Holy fuck, I love this version of the Shredder. He is menacing, he is dominating, he has a very interesting backstory.
Yeah. I like his voice too.
Yeah, that too. And he seems legitimately threatening. When he is on screen, you know shit's gonna get real. The only thing I don't like about him is this Shredder seems to have much less patience than every other Shredder we've seen, where it's like, okay, if you know your henchmen fuck up this badly, why don't you just do all this shit? It comes off as him not learning from his lesson when he keeps making stupid people who he knows are stupid do shit for him. If you want something done right, do it yourself, you know? But, you know, that's because, you know, we gotta have the plot, so I'm not gonna count that as a negative. It's just kind of a, you know, what the fuck are you doing kind of moment. He also has... I feel like we could talk about it in season 1, just not in overly great detail, but his backstory with, Splinter. Because they do bring this up in season 1, they just don't give us every piece of information. This version of the Shredder is very interesting psychologically. This version of Shredder, he hates Splinter not out of, oh, you're just better than me, or I tried to kill you and you lived, that's not the reason. The reason why he hates Splinter is because they were both in love with a Japanese woman by the name of Tang Shen, and Splinter got to marry her and have a kid. Then they fought, and Shredder was going to deal the final blow to Splinter, but Tang Shen got in the way and killed her. And Shredder, because he's fucked up psychologically, says, "This is your fault. You did this." And so he is blinded by rage and jealousy, as well as delusions. And this is why he's so pissed off at Splinter. I find that very fascinating. He's not an overly goofy fucking moron like he is in like the 80s show. The 80s. Yeah. And he's not just your stereotypical serious douchebag like he is in the 2003 show. That has a backstory in that show that makes no fucking sense. Which I have seen the episode.
Don't spoil that one episode in season 3. The one with Shredder and Splinter.
I'm not spoiling that one. I was just explaining how much they explained in season 1. Not counting the season 1 finale, because there is more to it that they unfold as the series goes on. I love his design too. He has like this, half of his face is pretty much burned to shit, and like one of his eyes is damaged. We know how it happens
in season 3.
Yeah, we see all this shit. We see the backstory between Splinter and Shredder.
And I will spoil something. It's not in black and white.
That would be awesome, though. I feel like that would be cool, though, if the turtles were the only things in color and everything else was in black and white. I feel like that would have been cool.
Yeah. Or you could do, like, a vintage.
Oh, or they could have done it in, like, the old style of, like, the old comics. That would have been awesome.
That's what, yeah.
But anyway, Splinter is fucking awesome in this show. One more thing I will say about the Turtles before we move on to the story aspect is I like how they all look and act like teenagers. One big fucking complaint I have with every other Turtles incarnation is they do not act like teenagers.
Yeah.
Bringing up the 2003 again, not a single fucking one of them act like teenagers.
Mikey does.
Michelangelo, he swears to hell and back that Michelangelo acts like a teenager. I don't see it like that. To me, he seems like a surfer. He just seems like a young adult surfer dude. In this show, they all act like teenagers. They all have their insecurities.
But Leo acts older.
Leo does act older in this show, but not by much.
Yeah, because he watches that cartoon.
He acts older when he's in full holy shit, I'm the leader mode, which doesn't even happen that often. Most of the time, he's just as goofy as the rest of them. Yeah. And that's one thing I really love about this series is tone-wise, it hits that sweet spot. They're not overly goofy like in the 80s show, and they're not overly serious like in the 2003 show. They hit that perfect middle ground. And
Leo barely talks in season 1, and not this show, but the 80s.
Yeah.
He barely talks.
Oh yeah, and in the show we get to see their love of pizza, which is awesome. I love how I love how they think it's dangerous in the beginning, and they're like, "Oh, well, let's have Mikey do it because he's our guinea pig whenever we think something dangerous," which I love. It's like, yuck, you guys won't like it. I'll have the rest. And I love it.
No, let me have some.
I love it. All right, let's talk about the story of season 1.
Okay.
The story goes that at the beginning, the turtles are already 15 years old, and they want to. It opens up with them training, which one thing I really love that this show does is
that's what the 2003 did. They were training at the beginning of the show.
One thing that this show does is use actual Japanese phrasing and words. In this show, actually culturing kids. It doesn't talk down to kids, which I really love. Like Hajimet, Yamet, and stuff like that. Like Rondori, and they have so many fucking Japanese. Michelangelo, they even name their fucking weapons sometimes in their Japanese. They're very Japanese turtles, is what is like. They learn Japanese, and they're training, and they want to go up to the surface because they're 15 and they haven't had that sense of adventure yet. I don't think we need to go like play by play. The turtles come across a alien conspiracy. The Krang are taking a scientist for some reason that I don't think throughout season 1 we ever really get the answer as to why they're taking scientists. I don't think we get the answer until later. Actually, do we get the answer? I'm trying to remember now. Fear, do you think do you remember that we get us getting an answer as to why they were taking scientists in season 1?
I don't think so.
I feel like they gave us the answer later.
Yeah, they gave us the answer later.
But they're taking scientists for some unknown purpose, to be revealed later, and basically the Krang are trying to. It's no fucking secret. They're trying to take over the world. But yeah. How they're going to do it, we don't learn till later. And the turtles basically have to stop them. Along the way, they encounter different mutants and try to grow as a team. And
that's what I like about them.
Yeah, they don't start off like every other Turtles where they're already a team and they already know how to fight a team. In their first fight, they get their shells kicked in. Or not kicked in, but they get their shells handed to them. And one thing I also like is that they don't have any stupid catchphrases aside from Michelangelo saying Booyakasha.
Booyakasha.
Yeah, that's the only dumb catchphrase that they have in this show.
Cowabunga. Actually, yeah. Raphael says that in season 3, I think.
Yeah, they do say that in season 3, but that's after they meet a certain character.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was a spoiler, but it was a funny spoiler.
It's just a joke, pretty much. I don't think we can. But in previous incarnations, especially the 2003 show, their catchphrases are fucking obnoxious and stupid. Like, what the shell? And it's obvious they're trying to make them edgy by saying what the hell, but because you can't say that in a kid's show.
Some of the 2003 Turtles?
Yeah, you can't say what the hell in a kid's show, so they just said what the shell instead. And that is so fucking dumb. It would work if it was only Mikey saying it, I think. Because, he's the stereotypical dumb one.
He usually says that.
Yeah, but I remember hearing Leo, Donnie, and Raph all saying shit like that, too. Which, in this show, the other turtles do say Booyakasha every once in a while, but it's mostly a Mikey thing.
Yeah. Because I remember one time they said it all together. Boy, gotcha.
Yeah, it's mostly a Mikey thing. They all think it's stupid too, which is all of them except for Mikey. They all think it's stupid. Like Donnie was the first one to do it. Was the first one other than Mikey to do it. And it's like, it sounds weird when he says it. Sounds weird when you say it. Which it's them poking fun at their own stupid tropes, which I like. And along the way, they come across the Foot and the Shredder, and it's awesome. And pretty much ending in them stopping. Fuck, did they fight the Technodrome in season 1, or did they fight something else? I think they fought the Technodrome, didn't they?
Yeah, basically fought the Crane. Yeah.
Yeah, they fought they fight
and
the Technodrome.
And they thought they saved the world, but they really didn't.
Yeah, they just delayed it. And there's this real sense of continuity in the show, which I really like. I know the 2003 show had continuity as well. But I like this one. I like this show better. The action in this show is really fucking good.
The 2003 one is too.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. That show is just not my cup of tea. Which actually I do have a cup of tea right here, which I'm gonna let you talk for a little bit.
I want some tea.
I'm gonna let you talk for a minute because my throat's starting to kill me.
Well, so basically about the story, what I think I like about it is, especially when we get to meet the Shredder and the Foot. That was awesome. And, of course, meeting Karai. And, the henchmen, I like, Bradford.
Brad.
And then, yeah, then Cypher.
Sever.
What's his name? Sever, yeah. And especially I like Amu Kurosaki.
Kurosaki.
Orokusaki, yeah.
That's the Shredder's Japanese name.
Yeah, I like Shredder. Especially I like the scar on his eye.
Yeah.
It makes it, because you know the first Shredder didn't have no scar. The second one, he was Utron. Yeah.
And this Shredder also he doesn't, what is it? What the fuck are we talking about? His scar. I'm having a massive brain fart right now.
I think we can end it off now since
anyway, let's talk about
the turtles, the villains.
Oh wait, no, let's talk about the theme song. Let's talk about the theme song.
Yeah, the theme song. All right.
I love this version of the theme song. It's not quite as good as the 80s theme song, but it's really fucking close.
It's pretty good, yeah. I like the 2003s too.
We'll talk more about that when we do our comparison video.
Yeah.
The music in the show.
Well, first you have to watch the whole show.
Yeah, I know. But well, the first season. Really.
Whenever you get the time. Yeah, whenever you know.
If they would put it on Hulu, that'd be great. But
You can buy it on Google Play.
Yeah, I know. I just don't have a whole lot of money right now.
I think you can.
Yeah, you can.
Wait, yeah, you can. I have season 1 on my phone. Yeah.
I think I'll just get on your account and watch it.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Yep.
I love the music in this show too.
Like the background music?
Yeah, the background music. I don't notice it very often, but when I do, it's really good stuff. But that's it. let us know your thoughts on the Heroes in a Half Shell. Did you prefer the 2003 show, or do you like the 2012 show?